do it. I have to do it. So I promised you guys that I'd do a tutorial on this, and here I am in the flesh doing a tutorial once again. I think it has been like over a year since the last time I've done a tutorial, but I really want to share you this new revelation / mixing technique idea that I've had over the past like 2-3 weeks. And I feel like I'm the perfect person to talk about this, because I feel like on my channel for the past however long I've been on YouTube, all I praised was just, if it didn't sound good, turn it up like as loud as you can. And I feel like using FL really allowed me to do that. But ever since I moved to Ableton, I figured there's levels to mixing, and it's not all about just turning shit up really loud. And that's basically gain staging, and that's what I'm gonna go over today. I have this little beat right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and play it before we start, and then we can get into the tutorial. I'm basically just going to start on what gain staging is, how it could be used in your beats, what is so effective about it, and how it's changed my workflow. So basically how gain staging works. I feel like I forgot how to explain things in videos. Okay, so the basis of gain staging is basically every sound that you use in a beat has multiple buses of where you can control the volume. So let's say for this hi-hat, I can control the volume in this little simpler like menu right here, like right there. I could also control it right here, but I could also add a plugin onto the hi-hat and then control it from there. So you have to keep in mind that all these different volumes don't work on the same chain. They're all in different chains. So the key of gain staging is making the input signal, so let's say like this hi-hat, as clean as it could possibly be. So for example, the sample that I use in this beat, I have it at -17 dB, so it's extremely quiet. So let's say I were to turn it up. Let's say I had my sample at about this volume, which is really loud, and I'm like, I want to turn it down because it's too loud, and I do that over here. It's still going to be feeding in a clip signal, so you have to make sure you get the signal from like the first volume knob you can find. So that for on Ableton, it's going to be right here, and turn it down from there. So then the input signal of the sound is cleaner. So if this was clipping and I was like, oh, it's clipping, let me turn it down here, it's still going to be feeding in that clipped distorted signal, so this won't do much. You want to make sure with every sound you have that you turn the volume down at the first chance you get. So in Ableton, it'd be in this menu where this is the first signal that comes through. So if I were to turn this down, and then I'm feeding a clean signal into here, then it's easier for me to control. And gain staging is also a lot about headroom. So I don't know if you guys know how like dBs and sound works, but basically when you reach 0 dB, anything above 0 dB is clipping. Usually I only like to have my kicks and my snares be kind of loud, and everything a little lower. I like to keep my melodies from like -6 to -12 dB. And don't forget, when you have melodies, you also want to try and add effects to them, and every effect you add to a melody adds dBs to it. So like this little compressor I have is going to add an additional volume. So the lower you have the sample at, the more headroom you have to add effects. And I feel like this is also why I never mastered my beats. I would originally mix my beats so loud that there'd be no headroom for me to even master. So I know you guys are probably thinking, but if we mix our beats this quiet, how do we get it loud? And this is where mastering comes in. Like if you listen to the beat without my master chain, this is how it sounds. So yeah, it's extremely quiet, but I feel like making beats quietly is 100 times better than making them loud. If you could get something to sound good quiet, then you already won. So what I have on my master are 2 compressors in this clipper, and I'm just gonna turn them back on now and see how it sounds with it on. So with the additional mastering, I was able to make up for that headroom that I was missing. And this allows for all the transients in your beat to just come through so much cleaner, and it gives you more room to work with. The more headroom you have, the more sounds you could put in your beats. And this sound right here, I have turned down -17. So you could be looking at this like, how did you even get shit to sound good when it's that quiet? But I'm telling you, if you can get used to making beats quietly, you are really gonna get the cleanest mixes, I promise you. My from the future chiming in real brief. I forgot to add that this also goes for like plugins that you use, like Omnisphere or whatever type of plugins you guys guys like, because I feel like most of the time when you have a plugin open, you're most likely going to change the volume in the mixer instead of the actual plugin itself. So you have to realize that it is very key to find the volume knob of the plugin that you're using and try and control it there before you control it in the mixer of your DAW. So if you could see here, I already have the volume turned down pretty quietly, so the input signal is as clean as it can get. All right, take it over, Mod, from the present time. So this is a pretty universal technique, but because I'm a nice dude, I'm gonna go ahead and hop into FL and do the same thing, just in FL. All right, boys, here we are back in FL Studio, the home, the land. Ableton is still better though. All right, let me just play the beat first, and then we could get into the sauce.
Let our hearts be as a child. Let me be with you.
All right, so something a little cute, a little sexy. But yeah, that's the beat I'm going to be using, and let's just get into the gain staging. So first off, I also want to start with the sample that starts the song off. If you look, I already have it turned down pretty quietly, and I think samples are a perfect example for why gain staging is useful. So the way things work in FL, the first chance you have to control a volume of something is in this window right here, this little knob right here specifically. So you could already see how quiet I have it in here. So if I were to play it at this volume,
Let our hearts be
we're already at like -3 dB, so that only gives us 3 dB of headroom to add effects and do things to it. And if you're thinking, oh my, but can't you turn down in the mixer? Yes, you can, but the signal coming in will still be clipped. So let's say I turn this up and it's really loud. I'm like, oh shit, that's really loud. Let me go ahead and turn it down here. L. Basically what you're doing here is turning down the signal after it, so that signal that's coming in is still going to be very loud, and it's going to give you headroom, but it's still not going to sound good. So you want to make sure you control the volume the first chance you get. So that would be in this menu right here. So even though digitally it's not clipping, the input signal still is not as clean as it could be. So that's why I feel like gain staging is so important, because it's all about just feeding in the cleanest signals you possibly can and just leaving yourself headroom in the beats you make. So in this beat, if I were to turn everything off my master, and I got a lot going on, I have a fruity limiter, oh shit, Maximus, and a soft clipper. Let's just listen to how it sounds. Still sounds dope. It sounds tight, but it's pretty quiet. But this is why mastering is a thing. And once again, like I said, if your beat sounds good quiet, it will sound amazing loud. And I know I talk a lot of smack about Fruity Limiter, but if you know how to use it, it's a great thing. The only thing I don't like is the default preset that FL gives you. So once again, if you make your beats quieter, I truly believe that you are going to get the cleanest mixes. As long as you have somewhat of a clue of how a limiter works, it's not the most confusing thing. It's only confusing if you make it confusing. Really, all you can do is just mess with these knobs to just get it louder, and it already sound good. But giving yourself headroom in beats is honestly the most key thing. It just gives you way more room to add as many sounds as you want, as many effects on the sounds, and just everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed my little spiel on what gain staging is and how it could be effective. I'm hoping you guys are liking the return of tutorials. Honestly, I just needed a reason to make one, and this was like, I just had to make this one. And I feel like switching to Ableton definitely really helped me, because in FL you could definitely get away with turning shit up really loud and it's still sounding good, but it's okay, it's okay. But I'm just saying, try this out when you make your next beat, see how it turns out. It might be the best shit you've ever made, you never know. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And if you guys also aren't aware, I stream every Tuesday and Friday. We do beat reviews, we do a bunch of things, shit goes down, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something and enjoy the rest of your day.